darkest time. I can't deny what I see, We will rise. I can't deny what I see, In the darkest time. I can't deny what I see, We will rise. In the darkest time.
This is the rhythm of change.
In the darkest time.
This is the sound of redemption.
We will rise.
This is the way that we bring it.
In the darkest time.
This is the way that we bring it down.
We will rise.
Down, down,
I can't deny what I see,
down, down, down. Down, down,
I can't deny what I see,
down, down, down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom.
We will.
These are the things that will bring it down.
We will rise.
Down, down,
I
down.
can't deny what I see,
Down, down, down. Down, down,
I
down.
can't deny what I see,
Down, down, down.
We will rise.
So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud, shout loud.
We will
Let's
rise.
bring it down. Let's bring it way down.
We will rise.
Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down.
We will rise.
Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down.
In the darkest time.
Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down.
In the darkest
Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down.
We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. Come on. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
This and we'll do. Oh, wait a minute. Why can't I get my music off? There we are. Hey guys, it's been a long time since I've used the 3-screen deal, but welcome everybody to another episode of Eric Dawson Show, and I'm here and you guys can see I've got both Deidre and Vincent on the screen. So isn't this amazing? So I'm happy to have you guys here. Welcome, and today is, as we call it, Deidre Viney Day.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So what's going on, Deidre? You look radiant.
Thank you. You know that Hawaiian sun tan. But I'll be honest with you. Last week I was on the show, right? I told you I had just got back in the office. I hadn't even looked at my job orders until I was talking to you guys about them. And I went home that night, like I literally crashed. I was supposed to take my daughter to softball practice. I couldn't even make it. Wednesday, very similar. Thursday, I was kind of feeling like myself. So today's already Tuesday, and I'm like 80% there.
Oh, wow. So jet lag is a real thing, huh?
Jet lag is real. My girlfriend says to me, girl, you ain't that young. So maybe that has something to do with it. But, coming back 3 time zones, we were very active in Hawaii, but we had some downtime. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't come back and just chill. I went right into work mode. And so I think a combination of that, and I really wasn't sleeping well because of the time difference and waking up at different hours. And yeah.
I always said that when you go on vacation, you have to have
vacation.
On-ramping and off-ramping, right? So you need that merge lane, right?
I purposely came back on a Saturday, right? Because my kids had school on Monday. This was spring break. So I purposely came back on Saturday. But again, it's a long flight, 12, 13 hours. So if we only can take a red eye, and I cannot sleep on planes. I've tried. I might have slept an hour on the plane. I watched 2 to 3 movies, and that kind of like kept my attention. And then, then we got home, and it was like 2:00 p.m. here.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So it's like not time to go to bed. It's bright outside. And so I tried to immediately adjust my clock to Eastern Standard Time, which is just not always easy to do. We were there for 8 days. So, and I was just not getting up at 5 a.m. the last 2 or 3 days at Hawaii.
And you just your body just got accustomed to Pacific Island time.
Yeah, so I'm starting to feel like myself today, which is good. And yeah. It's been a rough week.
Well, I gotta.
We took a 1 shot going up to Hawaii, but then we took the economy class going back. We had a 2.5-hour layover in Minnesota. Like, God.
See, I've been to Hawaii 3 times, and I actually prefer connecting because it's too long of a flight. And I always try to make my connection really tight. So both going and coming, my connection was about 55 minutes. So it was like no time to really go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom on a plane. We barely had time to get a snack. They don't feed you on even these long flights anymore. They give you snacks and crackers and a drink.
It. Yeah. You gotta pick your own goodies.
So we had barely enough time to buy something super quick. While we were in line, they were calling our section. So thankfully, the airport has food everywhere. So I don't think I could fly direct to Hawaii. I don't particularly like flying over 5 hours. Mm-hmm. I get antsy. My legs start cramping. My shoulder was hurting. I don't feel comfortable at all. I booked these tickets in mid-February, so I also didn't have the best seats.
Yeah, I was going back, I was in the center aisle. My wife had the window seat. I was in the center seat, and we had this overly privileged white woman who kept pushing my arm off the armrest.
Oh, wow.
Yo, I want to talk.
I will tell you, though, as you were walking past first class, I was reconsidering my life.
We need to upgrade, honey.
Why am I not in first class? Why? In their first class, when it's a 7-hour flight, that sucker turns into a bed.
Yes, it does.
I said, and my husband's looking at me, and I said, babe, our flight, now Hawaii was on sale. I'm not going to be honest with you guys. We only paid $475 round trip.
Oh, wow.
So I told him when I looked at the flight for first class, it was like $3,000 a person. $475, $3,000 times 4.
Yeah.
We'll deal with it.
I'm gonna go with $475. It's not that.
Oh yeah. I mean, we did the frugal thing. Fried up some chicken. Wife put it in her pocketbook. Snacks, bottle of water. Her pocketbook was like the size of a shopping bag, and so yeah, we were pretty good.
Yeah.
But it was a good time, but I'm starting to feel like myself, which is awesome.
So let me ask you a question.
Thanks for having me, and I'm hoping to drop some nuggets today.
You were talking about the overprivileged white person. right?
Yeah.
And I like that term, because you have some who are privileged, and then you have those who are overly privileged, right? Or feel that way anyway. But in general, when you're on a flight, there should be some decorum when it comes to who gets the armrests, right? But it's always a battle, right?
Oh, she tried to slick move on me.
You only get one armrest. You cannot get both.
Oh, no, somebody gets two. Somebody gets two.
Somebody gets two. Because you've got because you've got one. If you're in the window seat, you've got one to the right, right? If you're the window seat person, obviously
One to the left.
the one to the right belongs to the window seat person, right? Because nobody else can take that. Then that window seat person also has one to the left. Now, does that belong to the middle person?
That's right.
Right, because then the middle person has two, and then you've got one to the far left. So you actually have 1, 2, 3. You have
Right.
4.
So in all fairness, I think I always give it to the middle seat person because I never, ever want to sit in the middle. Ever.
Oh, so my overprivileged Karen tried to do the ghetto slick move on me. She was like, I can't reach the air vent. Could you turn it on for me?
Oh, when you lifted your arm?
Yes. So I did the ultra ghetto slick move. I left my arm there, moved over further, used the other arm to turn on the vent for me.
Listen, I'm telling you, but there are those kinds of things that take place, right? There's that kind of navigation that takes place on an air, because you also realize that you're going to be flying, especially if it's going to someplace like Hawaii, you're going to be on that flight with that person for a long time. And so if you start off on the wrong foot, right, it's just a longer flight. So I like to, when I get on, I like to just lay the ground rules early. And I do. And I don't do it through slick maneuvering. I just have the conversation.
But see, Deidre's right. It's usually the center person that gets both armrests because nobody likes being in the center.
No. So I like the aisle seat. I prefer the aisle seat because when I got to go to the bathroom, I don't want to have two people move over, right? When I and so there are differences, right? So some people like the window seat because then they don't have to have people interrupt them. So if you like to sleep on an airplane, you take the window seat and then nobody has to bother you for anything. Right? And you have your one designated armrest, and you also have the luxury of leaning your body on the fuselage, right? And so you've got all of that. The middle seat, there's no silver lining in the middle seat, right?
No, you're there.
Yeah, you're just there. But I prefer the aisle seat, and in fact, I prefer, if I can get it, the wing seat because you get more leg room, right?
I hate the wing seat.
Do you?
Yeah, because the wing seat is where you get most of the vibrations.
And I see you make sacrifices. And the only time you're not making sacrifices is if you're in first class paying $3,000 for your seat. But every place else on the plane, you're going to be making sacrifices.
Yeah, see, the thing about first class is once you do it once and just give it up. I mean, yeah, it's a little pampering. They feed you. They got champagne. They've got some upgraded snacks, not just the little airline peanuts where you never get enough. They've got like meals for you, and it leans back into like a bed. I mean, they really pamper you. But then once you do it, you're like, okay. Well, I've had that experience.
Yeah.
Listen, I've flown first class only twice in my life, and I remember every single.
That's what I'm saying. If you can fly first class.
Did they give you the warm towels after your meal? And
Listen, for business, I was mad the flight wasn't long enough. I had to go to Minneapolis. And she came up to me. She says, "Ma'am, would you like another plate of food?"
Yeah, I want to get my $3,000 out of this.
Yeah, of course I would.
This is pre-COVID when they even gave you silverware. This is pre-9/11, I'm sorry. When they gave you silverware on a plane and it was like another plate of food. I was like,
yeah.
absolutely, I would.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm insulted that you asked,
Most of
that you just didn't
in
bring
first
it.
class, boy. You'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too much orange juice with the next one.
Yeah. So anyway, Deidre, what information do you have for us today?
So today I want to talk about how to stand out when you're applying for jobs.
Ooh.
And what type of things you can say, particularly on your resume, as well as in your interview. I know we talk a lot about how important your resume is, and it is. But I think some folks don't tend to go that extra mile to really show the added benefit that they can give an organization. Being that I've interviewed so many people over the years, and I've also seen millions probably of resumes, if I was to add them all up, I can highlight to you what I think are ones that stick out to me in a positive light.
Mm-hmm.
So, particularly in this pandemic, some folks might decide that they want to do a different thing altogether, and that's okay. And so how do you do that? How you do that is you highlight your skill set, because if you're going from one job to another job that's a completely different industry or even job altogether, you're going with you almost like a suitcase. You're going with you skills that you've acquired at that last job, and so you're going to need to be very savvy and highlight those skills for this next job, particularly if you're trying to shift into a different career altogether. You need to let the reader know, or in an interview know, you're the best person for the job because of these skills that are now portable from one job to the next. So one of the key things that I'd love to see, and I can't say I see this a lot, but I like it, is to calculate your number of hours of experience. So let's say, for example, you worked at a job for 3 years. You worked 40 hours a week. You worked there for 50 weeks a year, right? You took 2 weeks off for vacation. You worked about approximately 2,080 hours. Now, if you worked that job for 3 years, you now have 6,000 hours of experience for whatever that skill is.
Right.
Why don't you capitalize on that and put that on your resume? Or maybe it's very specific to a software, or very specific to a particular skill, and you can talk about that in your resume. In that particular example, I might say I have over 6,100 hours as an administrative assistant. Doesn't that sound a little bit more powerful than 3 years? You know, or let's say you were there for 10 years. You have 20,000 hours of experience as an administrative assistant, or whatever your skill set is. Or let's say you know how to work PowerPoint. PowerPoint is not that easy of a platform. It's easy to learn, but some folks use it as one-offs, right? You just might one-off and do it for a presentation. But let's say you told me, and I'm an interviewer, and you told me in your resume or in an interview, oh, Deidre, I have 5,000 hours of experience using PowerPoint presentation. Doesn't that sound a little bit more powerful than you just putting a bullet point that says I have PowerPoint experience? Because you really want to highlight some numbers as it relates to your skills that you've done in the past.
So what if they put down they've got 525,600 minutes? Look at, oh, so you just did it for a year, huh? That's it?
No, we're not going to do minutes, Vincent. We're gonna do something that's significant, because a lot of times, I'll be honest with you, some folks don't brag on themselves enough, and I think it's important that you make literally a brag box, right, of your skills. What have you done that you need to brag about? Sometimes I have to dig it out of people in an interview. Come to find out, they'll say something like, oh, I didn't really do too much of this particular role. I was just a receptionist. And then you might dig deeper as an interviewer, and I say, okay, well, that's great. You were a receptionist. Can you tell me a little bit more about your role? Oh, you know what? One time at my company, the manager came up to me, and they asked me to plan the company picnic for 700 employees. I had to help coordinate the food, the venue. I had to negotiate the contracts. I had to pay everybody. I had to make sure that everyone was there on time logistically. How powerful is that? You weren't just a receptionist.
Right.
You had other responsibilities that maybe they were one-offs, but if you had a bullet point that talks specifically to that, I planned a company picnic logistics from A to Z with 700 employees, how much more powerful is that than just to say, I was a receptionist, I answer phones, and I handle special projects? Like, people need to brag on themselves a little bit and really think about what you've done, because sometimes they are one-offs. For whatever reason, that manager, maybe it was his job to do that company picnic planning, and he was too busy. And he wanted to see if you were able to step up to the plate with some guidance. And you not only stepped up to the plate, but you rose to the occasion. How much more powerful is that? Maybe you may not be given that opportunity again at that employer, but maybe this next employer might say, that might be a job, like that's a full-time job, because we have not only just company picnics, we have company meetings, we have off-sites, on-sites, and I need someone that can take charge of that all together.
Sure.
And now you have literally crafted a job for yourself that you didn't even realize, because you were having a conversation about something you did that you thought was not that significant. So you really got to think and brag on yourself and think hard, because that's why a resume needs to be a work in progress. It's not an end-all be-all. Because as you start to think about things, it might jog your memory to say, oh, yeah, I forgot about that company picnic I planned 3 years ago. Oh, and everyone loved it so much. But the next year, the woman that was on maternity leave, she came back and she did it. So they didn't need my help anymore.
Right.
But guess what? You did a great job. And so let's celebrate that and let's highlight that.
All right.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then also percentages. I'm a numbers person. I have a finance background. Maybe that's part of it. And I love numbers and math. But percentages are your friend. And what percentages are similar to, like, if you're growing an organization. So let's say they bring you on in a sales capacity, and the numbers of the company were $100,000 in sales. And you came onto the company, and within 1 year, they were $150,000. Now you can talk about that percentage growth of 100 to 150,000. You can do it in whole numbers, or you can do it in percentages. I tend to, depending on if the number is pretty significant, I might choose the percentage over a whole number, because someone might say, well, 150, that's still really low. I really want you to be at 300,000. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So using the percentage, you have the capability. I mean, if they drill down and they ask you, well, exactly what is this growth percentage? And you can say, oh, it grew from 100 to 150,000, within that first year. But, I'm still with the company now. For whatever reason, they're looking to lay me off, or I'm a little unhappy, or I'm moving, or whatever the situation is for why you are interviewing with that company. They may be impressed by a percentage more so than an actual number. However, if you grew it astronomically, let's say you grew it from 100,000 to 400,000, that's a 400% increase. Now look at that percentage.
Right.
It looks significant. And that person doesn't know that it was 100 to 400. They might think it's 1 million to 4 million. They don't know. So you just make yourself, you're not lying. You're not curving the truth. You're telling the truth. You're just presenting it in such a way that is going to be attractive and put you in the best light and allow you to brag on yourself about your accomplishments.
Okay. So you're accentuating or highlighting your minimum. Does that go a little too far sometimes?
What do you mean?
Some people overly brag.
That could be the case. I mean, it really depends. I have seen situations people do overly brag on themselves, but I take things with a grain of salt as an employer, right? Because I interview so many people, and sometimes it's hard to compare apples and apples. Sometimes they're apples and oranges. They're just two different skill sets, two different things they're bringing to the plate. But if you some folks sometimes, it's so funny. I look at some resumes, and they're even the title. I will ask them, it'll have some fancy title, and I may just call them up as I might do a phone screen, and I might say, I haven't really heard this title before. What exactly did you do? And once they explained it to me, I was like, oh, you were a cashier. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but they made it such that it sounded a lot more than it really was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, like someone
coached them to say, oh, don't say cashier. That just sounds too small. Say whatever. That makes your title sound much more sexier than it is. When I drilled down, they were ringing registers, talking to customers.
But now let me ask you a question. So in a situation like that, though, right, because you know what they did, and now you realize that they're a cashier, is that a strike now against them?
To me, I don't see it as such.
Okay.
But that's me. some interviewers might say, why didn't you just say you were a cashier?
Right.
Why you have to get this fancy title?
Because now I'm figuring as an interviewer, I now have to scour through the rest of their resume and determine where there were embellishments, right? That misalign them in terms of what it is they really did. Because now I'm just saying for me, I would look and say, well, I don't. Maybe not trusting them is not the word I want to use, but it's very close to that, right? Because it's almost like you tried to deceive me.
A lot of times folks don't do their own resumes,
Mhm.
right? We talked a lot about that before with hiring a service to do your resume for you because you just don't have that skill set. It's not in the cards for you to do it, which is fine. And sometimes they don't even look at their own resume. And I know that to be true because sometimes I'll read it back to them and they'll look at me like they read it for the
Like,
first
really?
time.
I did that?
Hey, I'm gonna hire me. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's maybe because I give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm a staffing firm and I represent 60 companies, and we're always looking for talent. So maybe I tend to look past some things. But to your point, Eric, a lot of times I can figure it out. So, for example, in that cashier example, they will have some fancy title. And I might look down at the bullet points and figure out, oh, this person is a cashier. I still want to talk to them because of maybe something else they have on their resume, or I need a cashier for whatever reason for my company. And so I think that as an interviewer, just be sensitive to the fact that folks, I don't want to demean anyone. I don't want to belittle them. And that is not my intention. And maybe I just want to drill down and understand exactly what they did so that I can make sure they're the best fit for this position. And if you feel like a fancier title makes you feel better or whatnot, I mean, even my staff here, I coach, customer service is like a catch-all phrase that is utilized in a lot of resumes. And I have to drill down sometimes because I tell my staff, we particularly look for customer service people that have worked in a call center, not someone that, they cashiers will call themselves customer service, and they are to a certain extent. They're helping the customer, ringing up the register, and maybe answering questions if they're behind the customer service department. But my clients are looking for someone that can handle high volumes of phone calls in a small period of time. They need someone that can escalate and handle someone that's screaming at them over the phone about their bill being incorrect. That is sometimes a very different skill set, sometimes the same, depending on someone that's simply ringing up my items that I purchased.
Got it.
Well, I had one college student, I think it was in his third year, and he said that he had supervisory experience in facility aquatics quantitative management.
Well, that sounds fancy.
Yeah, you know what he did?
What he did?
He counted all the people at the kiddie pool.
Oh, you know what? Security guards tend to do that too. And again, no shade against security guards. It's a much needed a job. But I know that they have a really hard time switching careers because they're checking in people, they're just signing them in, and that's it. Their job is not really too robust. And then they'll come to me and they'll want to do something different, and you'll see their resume and they will fluff up that they took they just wrote down the numbers of the person's driver's license, gave them an ID badge, and sent them on their way. And so I just say all that to say you just have to be cautious of that as an interviewee or as you're putting together your resume, because some folks may see right through that and say, oh, this person was a security guard. Again, no shade against it, but you just have to be conscious.
He put down private investigation specialist.
Yeah, I've seen all kinds of titles. Customer service is another one. That's a catch-all for security guards. I've seen it all. And they are doing customer service, but that example I just gave, the customer service that I'm looking for my clients, you need to be in a call center environment. If you're handling someone coming in looking to go upstairs to the doctor's office, they're not really irate. They're not screaming and yelling at you about their bill being wrong.
Right.
And so you may not have built up that muscle to know how to deal with that particular individual. You're simply just giving them their ID and sending them on their way. Very, very different than what some companies might need when they look for a customer service, what I'm going to call a true customer service rep in a call center handling someone with a billing issue.
I see. So, all right. So, highlight, brag, but be conservative or moderate. Don't overly do it. What's next?
That's it. That was everything. You missed a bunch of stuff. You missed a bunch of stuff. The percentages.
No, percentages, yes.
Percentages over whole numbers.
Hours, yes.
Yeah. Listen.
The brag, if it's the theme, the brag is the biggest theme, right? That's the top of the line, right? You look at the food chain of a pyramid, that's at the top.
Big up yourself.
The supporting evidence is the hours, is the percentages, is to the bragging on yourself, so that you remembering what you did, because you don't want it to come up by accident. You want it to come up intentionally. That example that I just gave, because they may not directly. That person might have got lucky and was able to explain about the company picnic. But if you have an opportunity and a window of opportunity, and you always do, people think they don't have an opportunity. They always have an opportunity. Even if they don't ask you at the interview at all, at the very, very end, they always say, or they should, a good interviewer should, do you have any questions? And if they're asking that at the end, do you have any questions, you might ask a question or two. I always recommend that you have questions prepared, or even highlighting whatever you talked about. But then you may have an opportunity right then and there to highlight and summarize your work experience, your brag box. You can pull up one or two specific examples that may not have been brought up because for whatever reason the interviewer didn't get around to asking you, but you can bring it up.
Sure.
There's always a chance to do that. And then you have your follow-up letter that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. You can highlight it again in your follow-up letter. You have many, many opportunities to brag on yourself. But obviously, I recommend to do the one when you're right in front of them. But as a secondary is going to be a follow-up letter. And we love handwritten letters, remember? Handwritten letters, mail within a day or two of your interview. Preferably right downstairs in the lobby of your interview. And I think, Vincent, you had mentioned a couple weeks ago to hand it right to the receptionist. Right. I love that. It shows that you are eager and you're hungry, and there's nothing wrong with a person that's hungry. There's a Patrick Lencioni book that he talks about being hungry, humble, and smart. Employers want employees that are hungry, meaning they are willing to hustle for that job, particularly if it's a sales role. Even if it's not a sales role, you're hungry means you're going to show up to work every day. If nothing else, you're humble, meaning you are willing to take direction when the manager gives you advice for how to do something. You don't think you're a know-it-all because you've been there for 2 days. And you're smart. You take the time, you read books, you study people, you study the manual at the company, you come with information yourself. Remember, you came with a suitcase of knowledge from your last employer. You're smart. Maybe you even have a degree. Maybe you even have a certification in whatever. You're bringing those hungry, humble, and smart attributes to every employer. I can assure you, you will be working.
Yeah. Great. Deidre, always a wealth of knowledge coming from you, and you drop some really, really, really brilliant gems on everyone.
Yeah. I got to go redo my resume, and I got to big up myself.
You got to big up yourself.
Me too.
We always.
But I may have to give it to you to look at because I may go too far.
Well, you know what?
I may go too far.
Now I will tell you, Eric, because I've seen your resume. And I will tell you, it can't be 5 pages long, bro. It can't be 5 pages long.
So here's the thing. So my resume is 2.5 pages long, right?
Okay.
My executive resume is 2.5 pages long. So let me ask you this serious question, because I do have another resume that's 1 page, right? If you have extensive experience, how do you whittle it down in such a way that you can do all the things that you just talked about, right? Which is you want to stand out. You want to do all of these things. Understanding your resume is the first impression that the job seeker, or not the job seeker, the employer or prospective employer is going to get. How do you do that in under a page?
A page.
So two ways.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow the memo got out about these 5-page resumes, and I'm not exaggerating. I've seen 5-page resumes a lot. People feel that they have so much experience, they have to tell me everything they've done for the past 25 years. No, stop it. You have experience, I understand that, but you have to find a way to make it concise, because I don't want to, nor do I have time to read 5-page resumes.
That's like a mini novel.
If you are a professional like yourself, Eric, and you can find a way, and I know you can, to make it 1 page, that is my recommendation.
Look, I got it from 5 pages to 2.5 pages.
Okay, and that half, because that's really 3 pages. There's no such thing as a half a page.
There's 3 pages.
So, if you, however, have a lot of work experience, and there are some executives that I do make an exception to, you have a lot of work experience, and you are finding it very, very difficult to convey your work experience in 1 page, then I recommend that 2nd page. But that's it. You cannot go to a 3rd page, not even a 3rd half a page, Eric. You have to keep it at 2 pages, and I know you can do it. Some folks are getting extremely creative, particularly the creative people like yourself, Eric. You can have hyperlinks to your website. You can have hyperlinks to this show. You can add all those things into your resume that allows it to be condensed. When the person is interested, no one's handing you a paper resume with on that bond paper anymore. No one's doing that. So if you know it's going to go electronically, and you are in that creative space, why not add those hyperlinks on there? Because if I'm the reader and I'm interested in Eric, I might click through the hyperlinks because I want to know more. But that's at my leisure. I may not. But if you're able to keep it to 1 page, concise, with your bullets, with you bragging about the things that you have accomplished, that is my recommendation. If you are so full of yourself, Eric, and you have so much to share, 2 pages max.
Okay.
Point taken. So I will whittle it down to 2 pages. I'll add hyperlinks. You guys can visit me at ericascreative.com, right? That is my website. And you'll be able to get all the information.
You know what? They're getting so creative nowadays, Eric, with these resumes, that especially this younger generation, I'm telling you, they're going to save us. This younger generation is they're really knocking it out the park.
Mm-hmm.
They are socially involved. They're activists. They have big hearts. They're givers. And they have gotten extremely, extremely creative.
I got an idea.
Resumes.
What if you did a resume? Now, how would you feel about this? If you got a resume that just had essentially now I'm not going to say a cover letter, but like an executive statement, right? Executive summary, if you will. And then a QR code.
Now, I will tell you, because I just came back from Hawaii, I can't stand those damn QR codes.
But it's better than a hyperlink, because now...
No. I can't stand it. They're forcing me to do it. Every menu, you sit down.
But that's my whole point, right? But that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that everything is moving toward QR codes. So we're being conditioned, to identify QR codes with savings, coupons, special offers, all of these different kinds of things. And so, you don't think that would be a good idea?
No, so the same thing can be accomplished like this, Eric. You have a website, you have an IG handle, you have a Facebook handle, you have a YouTube handle. You have all these different handles. I am not putting up my cell phone to the screen to find your QR. I'm not doing it. And I will tell you, when we were on vacation, my mother-in-law got my daughter a cell phone in February, and she has an Android. She was telling me that she couldn't get the QR code. I don't know if that was her phone or what it was, but if it was Android versus an Apple phone, but she was never able to open up the QR code on her phone.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
So I just feel that you're opening up to just, you're being fancy for no good reason, to be honest. Because we have other mechanisms. We have websites. They're not going anywhere. And now we have all these social media handles that you can simply put on there, even LinkedIn, that people, if they want to check you out a little bit further, don't have them don't have them put their cell phone up to their screen of their computer and hope that it works and hope that they get your QR in our hand. Maybe there are other appropriate places to use it, so I'm not going to date myself, right? There may be other opportunities to use it, because I remember when QR codes first came out about 15 years ago, no one was going for it.
Correct.
They were like, this is dumb. And a lot of employers even put it on, a lot of businesses even put it on their websites, or they put it on, if you went by a store, it was in the corner of a store, and no one paid attention to it. And then somehow it went away, and now it's back. And now it's back in full force, down to the menu at every single restaurant you go to.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's ad nauseum that I see these stupid QR codes, and I'm just not a fan.
Well, QR codes came back with a vengeance because of COVID, and because you would have to print a menu out and then destroy it after you gave it to each person. So they QR it, and they're able to look and keep things going. But I think you're right. I think sometimes you could just QR yourself out of not getting a job.
Exactly. Especially if you're creative and you have websites and you have all kinds of, maybe in spaces like where you want to show your portfolio, that should be on your website. I mean, take the time, because what does a QR code do? It takes you to a certain spot within your website. Then from that certain spot, we have even hyperlinks. You can even shorten a website with a tiny URL. There's lots of things you can do to be creative if you're in that space. But to force someone to do a QR code on your resume, I don't think we're there yet. And because we might be there eventually. It might be, we might be at video resumes for all I know in the immediate future.
Well, you look at hyperlinks doesn't cause the potential employer to stop what he's doing, grab another device to actually find out what you're doing. So it's just a one click.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not a fan, but we could talk about this in another year or two. And those millennials or those Gen Zers, they could have a different thing in place when they become managers.
Okay. So what jobs do you have available?
Funny you should say that. So I am looking for a customer service shipping coordinator. That position is in Bayonne. I have a general labor position. I don't know where that's at. That just came in.
How much is the customer service?
The customer service one that's in Bayonne is paying $17 an hour.
Wow.
The general labor one that's also in Jersey City is paying $17 an hour. That one you need to be able to pass a drug test and a background check. Just want to put that out there. I have a concierge position mid-shift, being 12 to 8:30 here in Jersey City. I have a couple general warehouse roles in Newark. That does pay $13 an hour. It's right in Newark, easy location to get to. I'm looking for a general manager. If you have experience, you need to have cards in Bayonne. It's a first shift role, but the location, I think, requires a card. I'm looking for an office assistant. That one, I'm looking for someone with very good presentation, office experience. That one is in Hoboken. I am looking for a data entry clerk. That's right here in Jersey City. I have second shift openings right now, and I have 10 openings. I've been having a really hard time finding someone for these roles. It's a 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. shift. It's right in Newark, right off the bus line, easy location to get to. No worries about a past background. We do not have to worry about that there. I have 10 openings for that. It does pay $13 an hour, and like I said, it's a second shift role. And you have to be able to work weekends. They do full training. And it's a great opportunity for folks that want it. I'm also looking for, I'm surprised this is still up. I'm looking for a road warrior. That's someone that's going to visit up to 8 Amazon warehouses in do spray high touch areas. They start at 4 o'clock in the morning. They end at 6 p.m. This position I only have open on Sundays, and that pays $22 an hour. I'm looking for a bookkeeper. That one is here in Jersey City. You need to have experience in bookkeeping. I'm looking for a dishwasher. Believe it or not, our restaurants are starting to get busy now, which is very exciting. And I need two dishwashers to work at a very high-end restaurant here in Jersey City, downtown Jersey City. I'm looking for a secret shopper. I think I spoke to you guys about that last week. It's still open. I don't know why, but it's still open. So,
because nobody wants to be a snitch.
Snitches get stitches.
Snitches, what you say? Snitches for stitches. How does that go?
Snitches get stitches.
That's it.
That's right.
I'm looking for a bilingual receptionist in Newark. That one is open. You need to be bilingual in Spanish.
That ain't hard.
I'm looking for a warehouse machine operator also in Newark. I'm looking for a supervisor. The supervisor position does also require you to have a car. It's $20 an hour. It's in Kearney. And I'm still looking for a virtual administrative assistant. You can live anywhere in the world. So that's
how much you paying? I need a part-time job.
You busy. That one pays $18 an hour.
Oh wow! Is it work for home just during COVID, or is it work?
I'm looking for a maintenance mechanic. That one's someone that's handy that can fix things. That's also in Newark, and that also pays $18 an hour.
Okay.
So all of these are on our website. They're pretty much up to date. I will put the information in the chat. If you have any family, friends, or yourself that's looking for any of these job opportunities, please apply online. We do have an app, Express Jobs. You can go to our app. It can show you about all the jobs that are nearest where you live. Express has locations all over the United States, but we have 16 in New Jersey. And for some reason, Newark is too far for you. If you go to our app, it will tell you where the nearest jobs and the nearest office is to your home. So we can be able to help you.
Do you still have the Vineytron challenge?
The Viney challenge. You mean the Express effect?
Yeah.
No, it's not the Viney challenge.
Yeah, man. You. She's trying to brand this, man. You can't rename it.
The Express effect. The Express effect is in full effect.
There we go. See.
If you have a friend that's looking for a job, please refer them to us. After they work 80 hours. You will be given $25. And your friend, after they work 80 hours, they will also be given $25. There's unlimited amount of people you can refer to us over and over and over and over again. 10 friends, $250 cash in your hand. You do not need to be an associate of ours. We do need to know your full name so that we can give you credit. That is our ask. All skill sets, as you notice, I have a barrage of jobs available. I haven't even touched upon those work from home jobs. I'm actually working on those personally, and I have 15 of those, and they're still all open. Work from home, but you need to have finance experience and large banking compliance experience. If you have any of those kind of experience, I want to talk to you. The starting pay is $35 an hour up to $60 an hour. Some positions are 6 months, some are 2 years, some are indefinite.
Okay. Hey, Deidre, also, before you go, can you just remind people about the comedy event that's coming up, the organization that you're with?
Thank you, Eric. I almost forgot. Oh, my gosh. I've been stressing about that. That's what I'm going to work on since I hang up because I'm trying to fill these seats. I have a goal, and I'm a little shy of my goal. So, yes, I'm also on the board for Women Rising. Women Rising is the foremost organization in the state of New Jersey, helping women and families achieve self-sufficiency by providing safe lives through a variety of services, social services, advocacy, and economic development. We are located in Jersey City. However, we support the entire state. They have helped women, and particularly women during this pandemic, get safe housing as well as jobs and get out of really abusive relationships. So I am now the vice president of the board. My board challenge is a fundraiser. I've chosen this year, instead of my traditional paint and sip, I've done that for the past 4 or 5 years very successfully. I've decided to do a comedy night. It's a virtual affair. It's to benefit Women Rising. It is this Friday, April 16th from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's in the comfort of your own home. If you say to yourself, I don't need to laugh, I'm good, that's okay. We'll still take your money. You can also put that information in the chat. You know, folks are busy and they're out and about having dinner. I get it. No problem. It is virtual because we are still in a pandemic and folks are not vaccinated. So you're going to be in the comfort of your own home and have a good time. My husband and I did the similar thing in December and we loved it. We plugged our laptop up to our TV and we felt like we were in a comedy show. I'm also partnering with 4 restaurants locally. Light Rail Cafe here in Jersey City, also Caroline's Restaurant here in Jersey City, also Bentley's of New Jersey in Newark, and Southern Comfort in Orange. All 4 of those restaurants are given a percentage of their proceeds to Women Rising. If you say Women Rising, and if you order through Uber Eats or Grubhub, or if you just pick it up, please ensure that you say you're supporting Women Rising so that we can get credit, so that we can have that percentage of the proceeds given back to a wonderful organization that is helping our community.
Excellent.
Oh, great job, Deidre. I'm sure your efforts will be rewarded, and that's a wonderful thing for Women Rising. But, you know, they said that one of the biggest cures, because everybody during this COVID thing is going into a little PTS and depression, comedy and humor is the best medicine right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so we have 3 fantastic comedians. When you go and register, look at their bios. BET, Comedy Central. These guys have Apollo. They've got resumes. You know, and remember, these comedians, they've been sitting home too for a year.
Sure.
Not making any money. And so this is an opportunity to not just have a good time, but get these comedians working, because comedy clubs may not open anytime soon. If you've been to a comedy show in New York City, it might seat 50 people if you're lucky. They're very small. It's very hard to socially distance in a lot of these places in New York City. So not only are you supporting 3 comedians, actually 4 comedians, because the host, Aja, is also a comedian. So she's the host. She brought 3 fantastic comedians. You can see their bio on the website, as well as a DJ. So it will really feel like you're out, even though you're in.
Who's the host? Who's the host?
Aja. She's from BET and Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah, these comedians have amazing resumes. So you can support them by supporting Women Rising, and it's love all around. And like you said, Vincent, you know, comedy and laughing is one of the best medicines. Aja does this out of the goodness of her heart. She partners with organizations like Women Rising to give us a great rate to get these 3 comedians in front of the rest of the people. So it's a little bit different than you just plugging on TV and going to Netflix and watching Chris Rock. You can do that too. You know, I'm stopping you from watching Chris Rock. I like him too. However, you can support a good cause. At the same time, you can have a great dinner out at one of these local restaurants that will deliver to you, or you can pick it up if you're in those neighboring communities. But let's say you're streaming because you love Eric and you're in California, like my girlfriend is, who works for Netflix now. You can still support, because guess what? Maybe by 5 o'clock, you're not even off from work. You can stream in. That's okay. We will still take your money. It is not being recorded. It is live. So you need to either be there or be square, but you are also we're willing to take any and every donation. Help me reach my goal. I'm about 70% there. So I'm going to be pushing really hard these last 3 days to get, to fill these seats, if you will, so that I can reach my goal.
Great. Wonderful job you're doing, Deidre. Again, always a wealth of knowledge, and now you're into your humanities efforts. Deidre, how do you get the time?
Listen, did you see my cape? Did you see it? Let me
well, thanks for sharing some of that black girl magic and your superpowers with us.
Absolutely.
As always.
My chest, gotta open it up.
Woo! The visuals on that was scary, Deidre. Yes, definitely. But as always, if you are watching the show, listening to the show, please let us know. If you go to Deidre, let us know that you've heard her on our show. We like to keep track of the impact that we're doing in our community and for everyone else.
Now, can I say something? And this is really important. And I'm gonna probably touch a nerve here, but it goes without saying that throughout the entire country, right now, we're still in a pandemic. However, I just went through 25, 30 jobs that I have open. All my neighboring offices, we had our meeting yesterday. All my neighboring offices have similar, or if not more. My offices in other parts of the country, same thing. What we are all thinking and identifying, and employers are as well, is folks don't want to go to work. They don't want to go to work. They want to sit home. They want to collect their unemployment. They want to get that extra $300 stimulus check.
Yeah.
And they want to chill. And I know I'm going to touch a nerve. You got to do what's best for your family. However, I just encourage you to not get comfortable, because these jobs may not be plentiful in 6 months.
Warning.
All right. That's a warning for you guys. Hey, Vincent, you disappeared off screen. Did you fade to black?
I think I did. Probably. I think the lights just went out in a condo.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going on battery power.
All right. All right. Well, Deidre, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Eric and Vincent. I will speak to you guys next week. I'll put all this good information in the chat, including how you can support Women Rising this Friday, April 16th, 8 p.m. Be there or be square.
Thank you.
And order some of Eric's Grandma Emma's, which I know is available at Benton's.
Yes. In fact, I'm delivering to them today when I get off the show.
Look at that.
Absolutely.
Deidre, did you bring home?
I got to place my order. I haven't decided where I'm ordering from. I have 4 fantastic choices, the closest of which is Southern Comfort. That is literally down the street from my house. So
I got to go check them out.
Do you have any more of those macadamia cookies left?
Macadamia cookies.
Did you take the tour to the bakery on the Big Island? Or the coffee factory?
What I did do, oh my gosh, I didn't tell you this, Vincent or Eric. What I did do, my husband first of all is a coffee snob.
Yes.
And he's self-proclaimed. He don't care. He wouldn't care that I told someone that. We went to we went to 3 or 4 coffee tasting, literally almost like wine tasting. But this one particular one I went to, we tasted probably about 6 different coffees, without cream, without sugar, just raw. And the guy sat there and he'd explain each one to us just like you would a wine. Don't you know we bought not only 2 bags back, we're now a member of their club.
Nice.
It's out of control.
Hey, Deidre, I'm a member too. I did the same thing. I love it.
And I will say, I'm not as much of a coffee snob as he is. I'm okay with getting my coffee on my Keurig. I buy the pre-packaged. But my husband's like, blasphemy! No. And now he has, one of the places we went to, they actually did a pour-over. You ever do that, Vincent?
Yes.
Now he went out and bought a pour-over coffee thing yesterday. First of all, we had a French press, which that's too much effort for me. And the only time I drink something from French press is when he makes it. But now he has a pour-over, which is even more work. I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered.
Oh, the extra step on the grinding and then the pour-over, it's worth it. That is some of the best coffee.
No. Well, like I said, we had a pour-over when we were there at one of the tastings, and I was like, ooh, this is really good. And my husband equates it to it being a pour-over and not just your typical, like, even French press. So, hence, now we have a pour-over.
Deidre, I think I love your husband.
I love him too.
Hey, it's not you don't run into very many coffee connoisseurs, and I'm definitely one as well.
Well, you know what? When we came back, my son is he has his own business where he puts together things, and he's extremely busy. Even in Hawaii, people were emailing and texting me saying, "Are you guys home? Because I need Lorenzo to do some work." But we got back, and I ordered a shelf online, and it was there a day or two. So now we have so much coffee, Vincent, that we have a shelf just for the daggone coffee. That don't make no sense.
Wow.
See, problem that I run into is that the coffee club comes And my wife and we just bombarded. I mean, every day hitting that coffee, and it's gone before the next shipment gets to us.
We don't have that problem. We have too much coffee. I had gotten my husband a coffee club for Christmas, and I wound up canceling it because we joined this Hawaiian coffee club, and now we got too much coffee coming, and we got to get rid of what we already have. We bought back so much coffee that it's a little excessive in my opinion.
Well,
so what is your
going to the factory was that we brought some bags of the coffee, and I mean it was straight out of the roaster. It was still hot in the bag.
Wow.
It was great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you a dark roast? So are you a dark roast, a medium, or what do you?
I like medium roast myself. My husband, that's a good question. He kind of drinks anything. But I don't like it. Which is another reason why I don't like Starbucks coffee. We forgot to do on the Big Island? We had forgot to go to Starbucks because my husband was saying how he heard they serve Kona coffee at Starbucks, and we were so busy we completely forgot about it. We went to a ton of cute little coffee places to get coffee, but we forgot to go to Starbucks, and they're on the island as well. And that's the reason I don't like Starbucks is because most of their signature coffees are actually dark roast, and I don't particularly. It's a little bit too strong for me. I wind up putting all this milk in it and ruining it.
Oh, so Deidre, did you find out the place to get the cheapest Hawaii souvenirs for everybody that wanted something?
Listen, I sure did.
Tell me, and maybe we went to the same place.
Hilo Hattie?
Yeah. I got one better than Hattie.
Better than Hilo Hattie?
Yes, better. You know what it was in Hawaii?
What?
Walmart.
Oh yeah, you know what? I can't go to Walmart. I can't go to Walmart in Jersey. I can't go to Walmart in Philly. I can't go to Walmart ever. I can't stand Walmart. I'm sorry. I can't. I can't take the line. And we did actually. It's so funny because I was trying to be frugal, right? I had to go to Children's Place to get my daughter some clothes. And my son, who's 16, I was like, oh, he can wear an size 18 Children's Place. So I bought him all these shorts. They were $10 each. And I said, Lorenzo, please try them on before we go. And my dumb butt, I didn't QC his trying on. So he packed all 7 pairs of shorts. And when he put them on the first day, me and my husband fell out. They were tight, and they didn't fit. And we ran right down to that shopping center, which had the Walmart, but I didn't go to Walmart. I went to Old Navy, and we had him pick out and try it on, and us see him try it on.
Oh no! See,
pairs of shorts.
See, we had the condo with the kitchen. So no.
Actually, yeah.
So we went right to Walmart, got breakfast, food, all that other stuff.
We went to the local supermarket for that. I didn't even think to go to Walmart, but someone told us the Walmart was kind of far from us. Someone told us about a supermarket that was 10 minutes away. We went there the very first day. We got all this breakfast food and wine and beer and got the refrigerator up, and we were good to go because I wasn't buying breakfast.
That local supermarket has a 60% markup.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it
I
did.
disagree.
Yeah, come on. I got a $20 cigar that's in New Jersey for $5.
I was not going to Walmart. From me standing in line at Walmart, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I won't go to it in Jersey, and I'm certainly not going to it in Hawaii. Call me a snob, whatever. I'll take it. Like my husband's a coffee snob. I'm a non-Walmart snob.
You just draw the line at Walmart. I'll go anywhere but Walmart. Okay.
I draw the line. I'm not going to Walmart ever. Ever.
Yeah. Deidre, I'm surprised you can even say Walmart. You be like, where?
Now I'll go to Target in a heartbeat. I love it. Something about the lighting in Target. And the Target has a Pizza Hut. I just love Target.
Yeah.
And I even call it Target because that just sounds fancier than Target.
And Starbucks.
I don't go to Starbucks there. I don't like Starbucks, remember?
Oh, yeah.
But they do have Starbucks in Target, yep.
Well, Starbucks is trying to improve their image with black people.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll leave that to you guys to debate later.
All right. Thanks, Deidre.
Deidre, have a great day.
Thank you so much, guys. Good to see you. I'll see you next week.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Eric.
I'm a Walmart person, man. Well, listen. Well, I'm a certain Walmart person. I got to go to Walmart in certain neighborhoods. Certain neighborhoods, say, I go to a Walmart where the customers don't have what we would call a typical Walmart personality, right? Yeah. So that's kind of where I am in terms of Walmart.
Listen, I go to Walmart because it's fast, it's cheap, and I can get in and out.
Oh, no doubt, it's inexpensive, but it's only inexpensive monetarily. It can be very costly in terms of stress, right? It can be very costly in terms of time, right? So, you could be in a Walmart and, if you don't have, an hour and a half between parking and, lines and all of that other kind of stuff, then it's costly. So, I like I said, I take all of those things into consideration. My stress level, what am I willing to tolerate? My time, what am I willing to spend in terms of time, and then what I'm going to save, right? So that's a trifecta for me, and which is why I say go into a Walmart that does not have customers with a typical Walmart mindset or attitude, right? And so, and you all know who I'm talking about, right? So, I stay away from those WalMarts.
She helping you bag your stuff, leaving part of her weave in your bag.
Well, no, it's not even that. What it is, people share with you their energy, good or bad, right? So, you go to certain WalMarts. Where there's a high stress level because in that community or where they farm their workers from, those people typically, and when I say those people, it's not necessarily, blacks or whites or Indians or Hispanics. It's all of them, right? It's the community that they're in, right? All of these other factors, and then they bring that energy to work. And so when you come as a customer simply to buy a product, you now are confronted with that energy. And so I'd rather not do that, right? So I go to a Walmart where the personality of the people, not just the customers, but the workers, is not what we would consider a typical Walmart personality or experience or environment. And then I have pleasure. Listen, the one that I go to, and I'm not telling people the one I go to, because then you'll go. And then I'll have to find a new one.
Change the energy.
Then I have to find a new one. But the one that I go to, I have a pleasant experience every time I go. I've not had one unpleasant experience there, not one. And I've been going there for about a year. I found it, and it's absolutely fantastic. And the other thing is timing is everything. So I go to Walmart first thing in the morning. I'm there. They open at 7. I'm there at 7:30 at the latest. I get what I get, and I get out.
And one thing that I do in terms of timing with Walmart is I work hard at not going between the 1st and the 6th of the month, and definitely not after 12.
But see, I'm saying the one that I go to, like the time of the month isn't an issue, right? Like,
that's a good thing.
Yeah, I have not noticed a difference the time of the month. I have noticed an issue with the time of the day, but that only has to do with the fact that, you have people who are working or people going to lunch or so you have more people coming, right? But even those people that come, their attitudes are different, right? So for me, it's just time. I don't want a long line. Not that the line is unpleasant to be in terms of the personalities of the people. It's just that I'm now weighing my time, and my time is important. So I realize that if I'm there by 7:30, I'm never more than the second person in line. And then I choose whether or not I want to go to the self checkout or if I want to have, an actual cashier ring me out. So, but it is a pleasant experience, and the savings you cannot deny, right? So, that's my whole Walmart thing. Dude, we got a lot, man. Man, Vincent, I've been watching this trial. I watched it again yesterday. And I watched
in terms of the trial. I think the prosecutor has done an amazing job of eliminating the holes that the defense is going to poke in. I mean, the pulmonary specialist yesterday, the edema specialist that they had the day before, I mean, they were excellent in saying that, no, it wasn't his heart, it wasn't drugs. It was the simple fact of lack of oxygen.
Right. But what you're going to have now, and I believe that the prosecution's going to probably rest today, right?
Yes.
And then the defense is going to bring on their own specialists, right? They're going to bring on a pulmonary...
Yeah.
Right? They're going to bring on their specialist who is going to, no doubt, say that George Floyd's drug use and his prior condition as far as his heart is concerned, that they played a factor, right? And so then it's going to be left for the jury to determine which of the experts they believe, right?
Well, one of the biggest things that the prosecutor did, and the biggest blow to the defense, was that they were having the guy that was in the car with George Floyd. He pled the fifth, and they challenged that. The judge shot it completely down, saying no, he will not take the stand. Because they were looking at saying, him talking about how much drugs that Eric had taken that day. Because the guy that was in his car was George. Because the guy that was in his car, was his dealer too.
Right. So again, so here's the thing, and I want people to be very, very cautious about this. When we talk about the blow that the defense is taking, the blows that they're taking, understand, they haven't thrown a punch yet. The defense hasn't thrown a punch yet. We've watched a one-sided fight right now, right? We've watched a fight where the prosecution has brought on all of their witnesses, knowing what their witnesses were going to say, and then one after another bringing their witnesses before the jury and before those who are watching and listening outside of the courtroom. The defense has not had their chance to present their case yet. So I'm not... See, and this is where I think disappointment comes in with people, right? Because you've seen a one-sided fight. You believe everything you saw and you go, well, it must be, right? It's an open and shut case. Look at what they just talked about. And I'm telling you, you're going to have police experts that are going to come on and talk about the use of force, what's acceptable. You're going to have pulmonary experts come on and talk about George Floyd's prior heart condition and so forth and so on. You're going to have other experts that are going to come on and talk about the autopsy report and going to dispute some of the things there. You're going to have a lot of evidence that's going to come out, and all of it, understand, guys, what it is intended to do. It is only intended to sway one juror into saying it's possible it could have been something else. That's all. That's all. That is the burden of the defense. To sway one juror out of the 12. that says, yeah, no, I understand all of what the prosecution put forth. I heard it all. I see all of the evidence, and yep, it's all compelling. But, all right, here's the but. Capitalized, italicized, and underlined. But it could have been this too, because that expert said ... See? We have to look at this thing without emotion.
We do. But here's the process and the defense. Now, it's one-sided, and it's supposed to be, if you look at pugilistic techniques, it's supposed to be the rope-a-dope, you know? But the problem with the rope-a-dope in the defense is
you're back. Your picture is back. Keep talking. I'll bring you back on camera in a second.
Okay. The problem with the rope-a-dope is this, or the most significant thing, is that every now and then you got to throw a jab to keep him, continuing punching. And for the defense, they were supposed to throw a jab, which means poking holes of the prosecution's case, bringing up that reasonable doubt. And they haven't been successful in that. So
see, I did.
I mean, this is a 10-point must system, and so far it's 10-0, 10-0, 10-0.
See, I disagree. I think that they have what they attempted to do, and I think that they've done a job doing this. They've attempted to get all of the evidence, right, through cross-examination of the prosecution's witnesses, right? They want to get them on record in saying whatever it is they're going to say, and then they're going to bring their witnesses on to directly challenge what the prosecution's witnesses said. That's what they're going to do now. They're going to say, this is exactly what this pulmonary expert said. And so imagine, if you will, the defense attorney now saying, here's exactly what the pulmonary, do you agree with that? And they're going to ask their expert, do you agree with that? And then the expert's going to say, no, I don't agree with it. And they're going to say, well, why don't you agree with it? And that expert is going to give some very compelling testimony in terms of why they are 20 plus or 30 plus years of experience. They disagree with it. Now, and what I'm saying is this, we haven't heard the disagreement yet, right? We haven't heard it. We've heard one side. And so now when you hear another expert, and I'm not an expert, so I have to rely on the experts. So when I hear the next expert explain it, and so here's what I'm saying, and this is all I'm saying. So now, if you truly put yourself in the seat of a juror, right? The juror is supposed to not have a bias. The juror is supposed to wait until all the evidence is presented. And so you, by virtue of your commentary, Vincent, you've already made a conclusion before hearing all of the evidence. What I'm saying is this. I haven't heard the other evidence yet. And because I am not an expert, I have to hear the other evidence. And if those jurors are saying what I'm saying, then they're going to wait for the other experts to give their testimony.
True. And the defense attorney has that opportunity to set up his defense during the point of prosecution, bringing in that reasonable doubt, putting that question in their mind that if this happened or if that happened, would it really cause his death? So far, he has not.
No, understand. It is not. No, see, and this is where I disagree with you, right? It is not the defense attorney's responsibility to poke a hole in the pulmonary expert's testimony. It is going to be the responsibility of the defense's expert to poke a hole in the expert of the prosecution's expert. See, we got to understand. See, that's how it works.
But if he's doing that technique, he's already lost.
No, see again, and I dare say again, I think that your bias is showing because you have not even heard. You've already drawn a conclusion about a loss without even hearing.
No, I haven't drawn a conclusion. What I am doing is rating what I saw. Now, I haven't drawn a conclusion, yay or nay. Right. But from what I saw, they did the prosecutor.
You saw a one-sided fight. That's what you saw, one-sided fight.
Right. We saw one fight.
Right. So we saw one-sided fight. And so, of course, if the defense has their hands tied behind their back and they're being pummeled right now, you go, oh, he's going to win. But now we're getting ready to watch the defense have their hands untied, right? And they're going to start throwing punches. So because I know that is the second part of the fight, I'm looking going, okay, so at the very least, we can argue, and I'd be willing to argue this, that the prosecution held serve. I would say that. I wouldn't go beyond saying that the prosecution didn't make any mistakes, right? And so now, when the defense comes on, if the defense doesn't make any mistakes, when they bring their witnesses on, and so let's say they both hold serve, right? The prosecution held serve. They didn't make any mistakes. The defense comes on, holds serve in terms of their witnesses, right? Doing what they're supposed to do. Testifying the way that they expect them to testify after having been prepped the way that I'm sure they're being prepped, right? So let's say that every single witness gets on stand for the defense and they all hold serve. What we now will face is a jury where the prosecution has to convince all 12 of the jurors to convict.
Well, this is the thing. First and foremost, if I got a defense attorney who believes that while the prosecution is stating their case or showing their case, if he feels as though he has his hands tied behind his back, I need a new defense attorney. The second point is that you look at, it's not about the prosecution if the defense attorney wants to win. It's not about the prosecution being able to have carte blanche to present his case. It's about the defense attorney now bringing doubt. If he can bring doubt in the case of the prosecution, when it's his turn, he can overcome it. But right now, he has been very, very, very ineffective in bringing doubt. Look at what they did. They've won. Brought in they have now broken the blue wall of silence. You got the chief, you got the trainer, all of them saying that this was excessive force and this was not in their training. Then you have the ambulance people who said that he was already dead. If he gotten some help at a particular time, he'd still be alive. You got the EMT worker who said that I offered to help, but they told me to stand back. You've got the woman who's the eye in the sky who called the police on the police and said, this is wrong, you need to get a supervisor up there. Now, on top of that, you have one of the most damaging to the defense ever was the expert who broke it down in simplest terms. I mean, he put this so low that the goats could get this, and saying the exact process to the exact second where George Floyd's life came out of his body. Then you have his brother, and then you have the pulmonologist saying that no, it was not drugs, it was lack of oxygen. Then you have the final one was George Floyd's brother. Now changing him into the man in the video that you felt bad for, but making him human. Right. And saying that a human life is precious. It doesn't matter if they did drugs. It doesn't matter of the misdemeanor crime that he was accused of doing. What matters is that this is a human being and he died because of excessive force.
And again, I see how emotionalized you are over it. And all I'm saying to you is this. No, Vincent, I let you, I sat and listened to you. I sat and listened to you, right? So I understand how emotional you are over this, right? By being compelled by George Floyd's brother's testimony and all those other things that you just mentioned. here is at least from my perspective what I believe it's going to come down to. They're gonna push all of that aside. The jury's gonna push all of that aside, and the jury's gonna have to come to grips with this. In the moments, all of those moments leading up to George Floyd's death, there will be some concessions I believe in the jury room. Concession one, immediate. Yep. Derek Chauvin acted outside of policy. That's going to be concession one. Yep, he did that. Yep, he kept his knee on his neck. Yep, he did that. Yep, he showed disregard. Yep, he did that. All of those are going to be immediate concessions. And then the deliberation is going to come down to, in those moments, right, those 9 minutes, 29 second moments, right? The moment by moment, the playback of when he took his last breath, according to the one expert on the prosecution side. What it's going to come down to, and again, we still have not heard, and I keep saying this, right? We have not heard from any expert on the other side. And I want to say this too, for all of the people who are listening, and understand this very clearly. When experts are called, experts are sifted through by the defense or by the prosecution, and they're searching for an expert that is going to validate their point. So let us be clear about that, right? So every single expert, there was not one answer that was a surprise to the prosecution. They already knew. When they went to seek these experts out, they asked them. And when they got the answers that they wanted, then they said, yes, I'm going to bring you on. How many experts did they go through that did not give them the answers that they wanted, that they said, no, we can't bring you on? This is what I'm saying. So we have this false idea that every expert, because we saw those experts, that every expert is in agreement with those experts that we saw. And that's just not the case. And so, like I said, I think that what it's going to come down to is whether or not, based on listening to the experts, and we've only heard one side, whether or not there is reasonable doubt that it could have been anything else. Anything else.
Here is the thing, Eric, and which you said the defense will use as a concession is what.
No, not the defense. I'm saying that the jurors. Okay. No, but don't mischaracterize me. I said the jurors, not the defense. The jurors will use as a concession.
Okay, well, what they will use as a concession of yes, he died. Yes, he had his knee on his neck. Mm-hmm. Yes, the experts, and we're not talking about the emotional aspect of it. We're talking about the cerebral intellectual part of saying exactly how this man ceased to exist.
How do they know? How do they know?
Because they...
go ahead, say it. Go ahead, say it. How do they know? Because they heard one side.
Because they heard from the one expert.
There you go. There you go. So they don't know. All they know.
Eric, are you going to let me finish?
But I want to break down what you're saying.
But Eric, are you going to let me finish?
Oh, sure I will, but I want to break down what you're saying.
Well, no, before we go down the Eric Dawson rabbit hole.
But I'm going to break down what you're saying. So you're saying they heard one side, and so they know. That's what you said.
No, what I'm saying is repeating after you, and what you said would be a concession. Everything that you stated would be a concession. Mm-hmm. Means that Eric Chauvin will be found guilty. Everything that you said, that as a concession, would make Derek Chauvin guilty.
Oh no. So let us be clear. I think that Eric Chauvin will be found guilty of lesser charges, right? Violating this, violating that, doing this. But the big one, that's the one that you gotta, guys, I'm trying to explain to you, right? I'm trying to explain to you. And that the defense lawyer is not trying to keep Eric Chauvin from going to jail. That's a foregone conclusion, right? He's trying to prevent the most serious charges. So maybe I was unclear about that. So let's back up, right? It's a low bar to say Derek Chauvin's going to go to jail. That's a low bar. Everybody could say that, right? He's going to go to jail. The defense attorney's job is to prevent the greater charges, right? To concede, right? So that's what I'm saying. So when they go into the jury thing, they're gonna concede these other things, right? They're gonna concede them. The jurors, not the defense attorney. The jurors.
So what you're saying is that he's fighting hard just to get a manslaughter.
Yeah.
Versus murder.
Yeah. That's it. Exactly what I'm saying. And so that is
the case. Then why didn't Chauvin take manslaughter when they offered it to him?
Well, because I know. So you asked the question. So here's why you don't take manslaughter when it's offered to you. If you're defense attorney and all of the other consultants are talking to you, and you believe, now you got to roll the dice, right? You got to look and you got to trust them. But if they say to you, listen, the prosecution has to put on a flawless case. Understand, Derek, this is me talking to Derek Chauvin. Understand, Derek, our job is only to convince one juror. Their job is to convince 12. Right? So let's understand what the bar is. And, there's some things that it may come down to manslaughter, right? But it'll be manslaughter or it'll be a hung jury. It'll be manslaughter or a hung jury. We can guarantee you that it won't be the greater charges. Now, if Derek Chauvin is going, okay, so it could be manslaughter or a hung jury, then why would he concede and take the manslaughter? Why wouldn't he roll the dice and say, the worst it could be is the thing you're telling me to concede to, but I could have something better by having a hung jury? Well, he said, I'm going to take that. I'm going to roll the dice on that. But he's not rolling the dice. I'm telling you, I do not believe that he's rolling the dice on the greater charge.
Well, here's the other side, because the pendulum swings both ways, just as the prosecutor swings theirs and then the defense swings there. Here's the pendulum on him rolling the dice. He may roll the dice to concede that I may get the lesser charge, but he also may get the greater charge. That is the carrot and the stick, and him taking the offer.
Yeah.
He chose. Yeah. Well, he didn't take the carrot. He's going for the stick.
So again, once we see, and I'm imploring you guys to look objectively at it, because that's how the jury is looking at it. Not one juror is supposed to be looking at it the way that we want to look at it, right? Where we go, oh, he's guilty as fuck. Because if they were looking at it like that, then they would not, through the voir dire process, they would not have been selected to be on the jury. So we got to look not through our own eyes and through our own hearts and emotion. We have to look through the eyes and the emotions and the hearts of those 12 people who are listening to the facts.
But this is what those jurors represent. They're representing a group of people in the same city has had another death. I mean, shot. And she
But now you're being emotional again.
It was a taser.
But now you're being emotional again.
Well, hold it. Are not jurors emotional?
Wait, so what I'm saying to you is that...
let me finish.
You asked me a question.
No?
You asked me a question.
Yes.
You asked me a question.
Yes or no? Are jurors not emotional?
All of them are emotional. All 12.
Okay.
Well, wait.
Let me finish. Are they not intellectual? Because
all 12
what's showing is that the jurors have been taking.
So you asked me a question, right? So all 12 are emotional. all
Okay.
12 are intellectual.
And all of them live within that county, correct?
I don't know where they all live.
Well, that's generally where you select jury. They're
No,
within
no.
the
Do you
county.
know? So I'm saying, do you know for a fact? Because if you don't know for a fact, don't
No,
say that.
Eric, that's done by the voter
No,
registration.
but I'm saying if you do not know for a fact that they all live in a county, don't say it.
They would not have been
No,
selected.
I didn't. That is not what I said. You're speculating.
Eric, it is a 50-state law.
Right.
In selecting juries.
So I'm gonna ask you, but I'm gonna ask you a very simple question. Right, but we don't have to go through all of this long-windedness. Do you know for a fact? Simple question. Yes or no? Do you know for a fact that they were all selected from the same county?
Yes.
Okay. Then we will fact check.
Now, you want to know how I know?
No. I don't need to know. You said you know for a fact. That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, back to the other point. Now, they're all from that area.
No. From the county. From the county. Right. That's what you said.
County.
Right.
So they know the white imperialistic attitudes that police have.
Now you're being emotional.
No, it is emotional because you tell me what juror of color or known someone of color who has not come to the realization that the police officers have a white imperialistic attitude.
Right.
That if you do not comply, I now have license to kill you.
Right. But here's where the credibility again is an issue for you, Vincent, because that's all emotional, right? Because jurors are going to be instructed to follow the evidence. So though there may be an imperialistic whatever, all the things you said, the question to the jurors, and you asked me a very specific question. I gave you an answer. You said, are jurors emotional? And I said, all 12. So yes, you may have this juror over here who's going to be emotionally charged based on this most recent shooting. But then you may have another juror who's going to balance that emotion on another side, right? And so in there, you got 12 jurors with different emotions coming from different perspectives. And so again, relying on one thing based on one perspective, meaning you as a black man only hearing the prosecution and not hearing a single defense witness, right? Not taking into account the perspective of those white jurors who we say have lived a life of white privilege, right? I'm telling you, you're in dangerous waters right now. Call or go.
And the jury is predominantly white. What is he talking about? Say that. When you don't know, you said they're all emotional. How do you know?
No, I didn't say that they all. No, Jody, let's clear it up. I did not say that they are all emotional. I said are.
How do you know that?
Well, let's see.
How do you know they're all angry about the white supremacy of this country? How do you know that?
First of all, Jody, if you're going to quote me, then quote me right. Now, I said, are jurors emotional? And he said yes. Now, and they all come from the same county, which
we heard that. And
Jody,
they all are upset about what's been going on.
No, I didn't say that they all are upset. No, I did not.
How do you know one is? Did you talk to them?
Again,
How do you know one of them is? Did you talk to them? Did you interview these jurors?
Okay, now we're going to go to the.
You don't know that, right? So, like,
okay, well, Jody, let me.
No, fantasy-based moment, and just throwing it out there like it's that. Right?
Well, no.
About 50. It's a white woman, so it's 4 white women above 50. 1 white woman in her 40s. 1 white woman in her 20s. 1 white man in his 30s. And 1 white man in his 20s. Living in the state of Michigan. Who you been talking to? What makes you think they care about him? What makes you think that they care about him? Listen, and they all said they didn't even know, never looked at the video. So if they live in the state where this big thing happened, that the whole entire world watched, people marching in their street and they never watched the video, that lets you know where they at from the rip.
Yeah, that lets you know that lets you know that they are very skilled liars. Why? Because the whole world has watched the video. Now, if the whole world really look at
the video.
Okay,
I didn't watch the video to the squad.
Jody,
And I'm a
this is how you
never watched the
Well,
video.
well, listen, I'm gonna tell you, Amina hasn't watched the video. I'm gonna tell you.
I never watched the video.
She hasn't watched. My mother hasn't. Wait, no. But I'm gonna tell you, my mother. No, but this is true. And this isn't for argument. Wait, this isn't for argument's sake. This isn't just for argument's sake. But I just want to clear.
The video until the first day of trial. I talked to you guys about it.
Right, but wait a minute.
I didn't even watch it that day. I had to go home, get on my bed, and say, "Go ahead, Jody. Go through the moment."
So my mother hasn't watched it. My sister hasn't watched it. Amina hasn't watched it.
If you watched that video, then you are one of a small percent of people in the world. Well, this is how I know it, Jody. Jody, if you ask the question, give me the opportunity to answer it. How do I know it? The simple fact that after his death, the riots that broke out, the protests that broke out in the name of George Floyd, that said Black Lives Matter, not just in that little location, but all over the world, where people were hanging and making pictures and making memorials for George Floyd. That's how you know the impact that it had on the world, not just in that one place.
But that's a different statement. I think that Jody is.
I watched the market. I was totally interested in the outcomes of the movement. I watched all of that, but I never watched that video, right? So it's people like me who didn't want to watch that video because I didn't want to see that. It was simple for me. I didn't not watch the video because I didn't care what happened to the man. I didn't watch the video because I didn't want that in my home. I didn't want that drudgery and ugliness in my home. So it's that, right? And
then the understanding is that it's just the simple fact that Jody did not watch the video and not the rest of America.
You're unrealistic always. And if you don't think that there's a whole bunch of, right, the corporation of white supremacy, who didn't watch it because they don't give a shit. You're crazy. You're crazy. If you think some people, a whole bunch of people in this country, probably about that approximate 74 million, you always talking about numbers. If you don't think people like them didn't watch that video because they don't care about that video, you are crazy. And if you think, right, that George Floyd's death made this moment of racial reckoning, you are sadly mistaken. Listen, 10 miles away from George Floyd, killed a 21-year-old kid. Cop too. That's the cop. I didn't know him. I thought I had a stun gun, but I had my gun. Shot him in his gut. But
you didn't see that video either.
I'm not finished talking, right? Got him in the mask, right? The mistake you are making, the miscalculation you are making, and in large part, so many black people are making, and you guys think that now that George Floyd has happened and Black Lives Matter has happened, you think these cops are scared. You think they like, oh my God, we're gonna get.
Well, first of all, you're wrong in expressing how I think, because that's not how I think.
Okay,
but go ahead.
They're mad. And they don't have fear, right? In 2006, the FBI told this country that white supremacists were infiltrating the police department in large urban areas with the intent to kill black and brown people. Nobody said nothing. Obama got the report in 2008. Ain't nobody do nothing.
Oh, yes, he did.
Scared. He ain't do nothing. He ain't send the FBI. Listen, the FBI's report, I read it last night.
He did.
The FBI's report.
He did. Now, see, Jody, this is where you're wrong in blaming Obama. This is where you're wrong in blaming Obama. When Obama got that report, he implemented the FBI investigation of every last incident involving police. And it was in effect until Trump came and defunded it.
Listen, you know what that's like? Let me tell you how bad you are. That's like yesterday when I said,
Jody, tell me how bad I am, please. I haven't gotten my daily dose of Jody.
I'm gonna let you know. That's like yesterday when you said that Obama never said that he got his position on the back of Martin Luther King. As soon as we got off, I quoted 50 million times. He said it when he became the president of the United States. When he was inaugurated into office, he said, I am here today because of Martin Luther King. He actually said that he has two heroes, Martin Luther King and Abraham Lincoln.
See, that's what he said.
But you know what you said? You know what he said?
What he said is not what you quoted yesterday. You didn't change it till right now.
All I said to you yesterday, I never quoted. I'm not like you. All I said yesterday was that Martin Luther, that Obama would say that he was where he was because of Martin Luther King. I never said I was quoting.
Well, see, if you said that yesterday, then we would not have had a disagreement.
No, that's what she said yesterday.
That's not what she said.
That is what she said. That's exactly what she said.
Like they
She said,
because you
no,
some high-strung babbler.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Ooh, high-strung babbler. Thank you for the compliment.
So he look. Here's what I'm just trying to get people to understand. That if you look at the jury, you look at the demographic makeup of where they come from, which I believe is close to 70 some percent white, right? You look at that. You look at the fact that we don't have all the facts. We don't have all the information. We only have a bit of the information. I would just caution.
What is that in the background, Eric?
I don't know. I would just caution folks to hold tight and understand the jury. Like, I get that. Like, dude, me personally, I think that it was effed up that he had his knee on his neck. Yep, I think it was effed up that he had his hand in his pocket while he had his knee on his neck. Yep, I think that it's effed up that Tao didn't allow the firefighter to come over and take his pulse. Yep, I think that when the black dude, the MMA fighter said, yo, you giving him a blood choke, that they should have paid attention. All of that. Yep, I got these feelings about it. Right? What do I say? I can't deny why I feel what I feel. However, right, I heard, and I'm just as an observer, I heard one side. And here's the other piece of this. It's different being in the courtroom than it is watching it on TV. Completely different. It's different. That whole thing is more controlled, which is why Derek Chauvin's lawyer said, look, I want to sequester them. Because he wanted more control. But that environment is intended, everything from the way the courtroom is built to where the judge's seat is sat higher, right, to give this greater sense of authority and all those things. So look through the eyes of the jury. The jury. I understand, like, our individual feelings, but the way the jury is looking at this ain't the way we're looking at it. Not all of them. Not all 12. And all 12 have to be looking at it the way that we're looking at it for the conviction. Only one has to be looking at it differently. Only one.
So only one has to look at it different.
Yeah.
And we know that. But we also know that they are looking at one side. Yes, very much true. We also know that they've got that the defense is putting together their case now. Yes, that as well is true. But we also know that, excuse me, that people right now are fed up with the injustice, and that America right now is looking at this trial, because this is more than the trial of the state versus Derek Chauvin. This is the trial of Black America versus white America.
But Vincent,
justice.
I'm going to correct you again. Wait. I'm going to correct you again. See, you can't say America is fed up with the injustice, because 74 million people voted for the other guy.
Yes, but 86 voted for the winner.
Right? No. So I don't understand why you. But I don't understand why you. I don't understand why you're yelling. I'm simply saying you can say some people in America are fed up, but when you make the statement that America is fed up, I disagree, because 74 million Americans didn't, and then understand this, and this is why we got to do this contextually, right? When we talk about equality, injustice, go back to the book. What did Dr. King say? He said they're not looking for equality. They're just trying to make things more comfortable. And so you don't have even those people that you believe are on your side for justice, for true justice, which is equality. No, they just don't want the white man whooping on us no more. But they ain't looking for justice for us. So let us be clear, when you make those statements, it's dangerous.
Okay, well, let's go from your actual narrative. If they are looking to make things a little bit comfortable for us, one of the biggest comforts that we have, being a Black American, is not having fear of being tased, shot, gassed. Okay, but we sit up here, and here's the biggest problem that I have with America. America's got statues of all of these great people, named these military institutions after these traitorous losers. That's the same thing as saying 74 million voted for that loser, but nobody gives credit or validation to the 86 million who said that we're tired of the big lie, we're tired of the injustice, we're tired of the inequality.
No, they got all the credit in the world. What I'm saying to you is that they don't make up America. They make up a part of America.
Okay, they make up a majority, because we've got 86 to 74. Right?
Okay, fine. So if you wanna strain gnats, they make up whatever that percentage majority is.
Julie, could you let Eric finish, please?
So if you want to strain gnats, whatever that percentage majority is, sure, they make it up. I'm simply saying to you that those who are in power now, see, because we can't just go by sheer numbers, right? Because that's a false equivalency. We have to now look at the people who are on that side and the 74 million who are controlling power, right? Because now once we do that, we understand where the scale is tipped. See, so it's not just about 74 million and 80 whatever million, right? It's about where the power lies, and the power lies more in the 74 million, right? In terms of lawmakers, in terms of policy setters, in terms of wealth, right? So now when we look at that, I'm going to, when you make the statement and say America is sick and tired, I'm like, no, they're not.
Well, Eric, I will answer that after Jody gets finished. Go ahead, Jody.
It's kind of sad. Like, sometimes I get I want to jump through the phone and poke you out, right? Sometimes I'm there with it. I get so angry. Literally, I don't know if it's pity or I feel sorry for you. Because what it is, when we hear the phrase that to be Black in this country is to be in constant anger or constant rage, right? You must be one of those Black people that you just don't want to be angry. You just don't want to face what it is. You want to feel like we're making headway. Even though it's totally right in front of your face that is so not true, right? And we haven't made any headway. You want to believe that so bad that you're willing to argue it down to the ground, right? But when you make miscalculations on how we're doing or how we're moving forward is so basic, right? We wouldn't be here today, right? Or we would have moved forward today if that man who counts out those 86,000 million people put out the George Floyd bill. Let's train some police departments, right? We have these conversations every day, right? He was on TV, your leader Joey. Joey was on TV yesterday talking about the upheaval in Michigan and how he understands that people are angry, but, you can't destroy anything. You know what he looked like? He looked like Donald Trump sitting in that chair, right? Because he wasn't willing to say, however, that, man, I'm passing some legislation and some bills to stop them from murdering these kids, these black men in the street every day. He won't do that. But
right.
You believe we're working on a better America.
Yeah.
And you just said,
okay.
if they give me something, if they make us comfortable, and that's good. Are you kidding me?
Okay, we got
they want to make us comfortable.
Yeah,
see, first and foremost.
If that comfort is that they stop killing us in the street, then we'll take that. Are you kidding me?
That is not, and you are paraphrasing me, and you're only using 1% of what I'm saying that's true. No, that is not. Again, and Jody, here is the thing. First and foremost, I can be an angry black man, but I'm also disciplined enough to know how to control my anger. Why? Well, please, now I let you do that little rant. Could you please?
No, don't. Just right
now, because when you do not control that anger, it becomes rage, and that gets very deadly and very violent, and it puts me in a position where I cannot be effective. Now, am I sitting up here saying that, yes, we need to build a better country? Yes, I do, and I work towards that, because I want to build a better world, a better state, a better county, a better town for my children. And as well as a whole lot of other black people. Now, but don't get up here and sit up here thinking that I'm some pie in the sky idiot who does not know what's going on. But to address Eric's point, we keep talking about the 74 million in power that they have is not in any equation as to the 86 million and the power that they have. You have to look at that. What the Republicans are looking at is the power behind Donald Trump, and it's stopping them from doing or giving them an excuse to do what they know they should be doing, which is fundamentally right for America. What we're looking at is a group of people who are saying, no, this has to end here and now. Right. If not now, there's a white man gets arrested and sentenced, and justice is done for killing a black man with his hands cuffed and his knee on his neck. Gotcha. Then when will it happen?
So I got another call. So I'm at wait, Jody, I got it, Jody, I got another call. But before I take wait a minute, Vincent, I just asked Jody. Wait a minute, Vincent, but you can't do that. You hear me asking Jody to wait, and then you just jump in, right? So I got another call, but before I take the call, I just want to give you this piece of information, right? We saw a storming of the Capitol, and we know that if those were black people, they'd have all been shot. So when I tell you that the power lies with the 74 million, we saw it. Caller, go.
No. Well,
caller, go.
Has the privilege, but go ahead. I'll wait for the caller.
Oh.
Caller?
Oh, they hung up.
Hello?
They hung up.
Is it me you're looking for?
No, they hung up. So, no, okay. So we can call it privilege, but it's power, right? It's power to be able to go where you want to go. It's power to be able to do what you want to do. It's power to...
Eric, privilege is not power. Privilege is based upon privilege is based upon the admission or the will of those who have the power.
Okay. I'm not all right. See, this is another one of those instances of just trying to be right? So but go research that, right? And you'll understand that there's power in privilege. Power. Absolute power.
Let me explain it to you like this. My wife goes to the stores and buys what she wants. That's privilege. That privilege is afforded to her by the power of my credit card.
No.
Yes.
No, I know. That's completely different, Vincent. That's completely different, Vincent. That, jeez, I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. Listen, we're at 12:07. It just shows me that wow. We're at 12:07, guys. I'm off tomorrow. Just keep your eye on the trial. Keep you on the track. I didn't get to talk about the vaccine. I wanted to talk about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because there's some very interesting stuff that's taking place there. Look for it in the feed, and maybe we'll talk about it on Thursday. But I'm concerned. Well, I want to just say this. Millions of people have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. 6 people to date have experienced blood clotting, right? Out of those 6 people, I think there's been 1 death. But in interviewing with the Johnson & Johnson folks, they're still investigating, which means they're not directly linking it, right? There may have been some other issues. But here is the thing, as I'm watching people say, oh, see, I'm saying to myself, like, nothing is without risk, right? I remember when my dad was in the hospital, they gave him morphine, and he had a violent reaction to morphine. And so they had to, I forgot what they gave him. They had to give him a steroid and something else to flush it out and to do something else. Now, would we say that, oh my God, see, we need to pull morphine off the shelf? Of course not. And so we got to stop with this. Now, what I do appreciate that they're doing, but I think that it's overkill, and I think that they're doing it because of all of the built-up mistrust and things that are going on. They're being, if there's such a word, I mean, maybe this is not appropriate to say, but overly transparent, right? Like they're being transparent, I think, to a fault, by concerned about, because these people aren't really concerned. These are the anti-vaxxers, the anti-mask wearers, all those people, right? But I think that the damage that they're doing is they're giving fuel to them. So yes, report the information, but report it in its entirety. Millions of people have received this, right? Which kind of equates to reducing the spread by this and saving X number of lives when you project it out. And as we were doing this, here's what we have: 6 people that we're investigating. Do that. I think that's a better way of handling this. Oh, I just got a text message that they're stopping. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that I thought I got another text message regarding Johnson & Johnson. But that's it as far as Johnson & Johnson. So I'm just concerned. If you guys have any words about that, then go ahead. But that concerned me this morning when I saw, these anti-vaxxers immediately throwing up these memes about, wow, Johnson & Johnson, the FDA and such and such, and U.S. is stopping Johnson & Johnson without reporting the information. And I think that Johnson & Johnson and all of these folks are not doing a really good job on the public relations side. I'm not saying cover up stuff, right? I'm saying get in front of it, be bold about it, and talk about all of the great work that's being done. That's what I'm saying, dude.
No comment. Because the anti-vaxxers seem to never waste an opportunity to
kill another person.
Confuse their narrative.
That's like, no. Let's be clear. They never waste an opportunity to potentially kill another person.
Exactly. I mean, even to the point of when the baseball player, Hank Aaron, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they blamed it on his death on that, and they would blame it on everyone, and yet they want to give a lot. And we have went through so many years of the big lie and the disinformation and the misinformation. Finally, we've got a level where people are being transparent and truthful. Yet, even in the transparency, they want to change and control the narrative.
Right.
Listen, all of you anti-vaxxers, don't take the vaccine. Don't wear your mask. Could you please just do America a favor, die, and let us live?
Man, we should create a GoFundMe page, man. Ship them all off to one island.
Put them on one of those COVID cruise ships.
Yeah, there you go. Send them out to sea. I like that better. That's right. Just send them all out to sea. That's right.
When the ship comes to port, we just get some body bags and, they can all go.
No. I wouldn't even do that, man. I would just blow the ship up afterwards. That's it. Just leave them out there. That's right. You just go out to sea and never come back.
And we just sink it. There you go. Shark bait for everybody.
That's it. That's what I say we do. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Stay safe. I love you all.